Welcome. You're listening to Leaders Lounge live and unmuted with Steve Hamilton. Today, so many leaders are feeling stuck, isolated, and uninspired. This podcast will help you master your framework, connect with the community of leaders, and reignite the devotion for what you do. Some of the brightest leaders up today will be joining the conversation, sharing the joys of leadership, their vision of the future, uncovering blind spots and pitfalls, as well as what they do to maintain their footing. If you're looking for candid conversation, this is the podcast for you. Help us by staying connected and subscribe to YouTube as well as SteveHamiltonMinistries.com. Now let's get started.
2019, and then the pandemic happened 2020, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Like the end of 2019 going into 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually, I think that was good for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It allowed us to get our bearings as leaders, as
Mm-hmm.
teachers, as preachers, without having to show up with the audience.
Right.
Every week.
That pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. It allowed us to get our bearings.
Because I was able, obviously, I'm not a preacher like y'all. But
Right.
me, you get it. And God said, I'll be like, and God told me to tell you. And run that back right here. Edit this right here. The Lord. I said that word. The Lord said.
Uh-huh.
This pandemic is a blessing to me. You hear me?
Yeah, right.
I have on a shirt be like this at the top with some shorts on at the bottom.
Right.
I said, so it gave me a chance to actually build, and then it also gave us a chance for people, our community, to sow into us. And then what happened was we had money in Breathe that when we found a building during the pandemic,
Wow.
we found a building. If the pandemic was 2020 October, the building that we're in now, we rented it in October, and we had the finances to be able to rent the building, to renovate the building, all because of during the pandemic. People sewing.
My Holy Spirit got kind of Republican during the pandemic. In this sense, the Holy Spirit was like, first of all, either you're gonna trust God or you not. Because I got to the point where I was like, I don't want nobody. Don't send me to Psalms 91. Don't quote Psalms 91. Right. Because now that we in this pandemic, ain't none of y'all believe in Psalms 91. Like, that's just where I had got.
Right.
You went first. I said that first.
Did
you? And you and your spirit with our other leaders. Because I told them, they would say, what are we going to do during the pandemic? I said, I heard God say to me, for God I live, for God I die. Let's
go to church.
Let's keep.
And it wasn't for everybody.
She said, no, we shouldn't church. We should do what they're saying.
No.
And then you caught on.
No.
The Holy Ghost caught up late.
You are lying on me. We'll talk about it later.
She had the late Holy Ghost.
But no, it was one of those things where it was like, everybody doesn't have to come. We weren't those leaders that were like, if you trust God, get in this church. Yeah. No. It was for everybody. But if you wanted to come, we didn't have a problem with being there. And one of the things that I think the pandemic did for us is, as new leaders, it allowed us to build out our faith. Because it takes faith to plant a church.
Absolutely.
It allowed us to build out our faith and see the hand of God in our lives. And he showed us that he was with us. In that season. And so whenever it gets hard, whenever it gets confusing, whenever I can go back to that time and say, but if he don't never show us again, he showed us that his hand.
I'm talking about he showed us. Because what we did was we started night service.
Yeah, we only
did night service. So we started at 6 p.m. Then we was doing every other Sunday.
Okay.
Doing every other Sunday, because I was trying to, let's make sure it's going to be all right. Now, this is where she was at, like, no, we do every Sunday. We need to be in Sunday mornings. I said, no, we don't need to be on Sunday mornings yet. Because I was still trying to make sure everything was good money-wise.
Right.
How about during the pandemic, God have Ron Carpenter call me and offer me a job during the pandemic. So for 2 years, or was it a year? It was just a year. A year, Pastor Ron randomly calls me. I'm talking about randomly. He says, Gerald, God told me to go back to Greenville and fix something that I felt it was God, but I broke. And would you come be my minister of music for, he said, I can't pay much, but he paid good, gave me a car. I'm talking about a truck. It was a truck. Wow. And from here to Greenville was only hour 35 minutes.
During the pandemic, the evangelicals was church.
Oh yeah, they were listening. They didn't miss a beat. They like, look, we churching.
And I took the job.
Some of us are leaving here, but we church.
Listen, we church. I would drove there every weekend, and
we put our mask on. They had theirs on.
We churched for that year, and Pastor Ryan was one of the best blessings that happened to us during the pandemic. And when it was time for us to go to 10 a.m. service, and we ended up starting doing every Sunday night at 6 p.m. And we would go on Saturdays to him, and then do Sunday morning, be back here, do Sunday nights. We did that for a year.
Wow.
And then God said to her, this how she, she's on my list. God said to her, it's time for us to go to 10 a.m. service. I said, ain't time yet. Because that money I was missing, I was gonna miss that truck.
You're like,
wait a minute. I said, find the money. I said, because he paying us good.
And
the
truck.
And got a truck. I'm talking about you. And I hope he never see this. We went everywhere doing that. We went to Detroit. We went everywhere but California. Yes, we did. We went to Detroit, Florida, North Carolina. We would go anywhere because it wasn't our car. I was like,
just know, Pastor, when you release one of the church vehicles, somebody gonna be everywhere.
No, somebody going, listen, they gonna take full advantage.
You gonna get what you did. You gonna get what you did.
But we went everywhere. And then she said, God said, Buster, it's time to go to 10 a.m. I said, ain't time yet. Pastor Ryan calls me randomly and says, all right. He said, Elder Gerald, it's time to make some changes. And I said, oh my God. What'd you say? He said, I think I want to shift and go another way. And I said, oh, here we go. But that man was a blessing for a year.
But he said, it's
time for me to push you.
He said, I have to let you go. He said, because he said, I realize that if I don't let you go, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
In totality.
Exactly what he said. And he blessed that Sunday morning. That man, after giving me all this money for a year and a truck for a year, gave us like $20,000 in front of the church. Say, hey, here, this is for. He said, this is for you and Tammy to do it. Whether you want to give it to Breathe, offset your, your salary, because I know the church don't pay you like that. He said, but I just want to say thank you for helping me restart, launch what had. I said, God, you just amazing. Like how he just showed up like that. So the pandemic for us was actually a blessing, and then it gave us the legs to be able to be home and
to ease into it and be able to do it without the same kind of pressure. And a lot of that pressure is from how we've seen it done, and others are contemporaries or what have you. And I love the fact that you guys have the freedom, because it takes some preachers a long time to find that. It takes them. They find their own voice and their own style, their own way of, okay, this is how we do ministry. It doesn't really matter what y'all doing down the street, what y'all doing around the corner, and to be able to say, you know what, this is how we flow. This is what works for us. This is what the Lord has called us to do, and to be able to stand on that. It's tough as a leader. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people seem like they never find it. And then, of course, during the pandemic, a lot of people, they didn't get used to. They didn't get used to how to do videos, and they were, and how to stream and how to, just communicate with people. I mean, they some of them still look like a hostage video. But anyway, go ahead.
But no, and I think the pandemic made a lot of preachers be okay with their call actually being that of a teacher. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because prior to that, your effectiveness in a service was gauged by the response of the people.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people, they had to hoop, they had to give the theatrics because I need the response. And I think being in those moments where I'm just teaching into a camera and you've got used to doing this without having the response of the people, then you were able to go into service and say, no, this is what God is telling me to say. And your response does not dictate whether or not this is God. This is what he has me giving to you. So they got more comfortable with teaching and they came back with that element.
And it helped. And I'm sure there are people that were extremely, and are still being extremely blessed, because now the preacher had to come up with some content. They had to come up with some Bible, and they had to be able to deliver that in a way that makes sense and that's clearer. You had to be able to, we were down here with 10 people, in the building, but we was churching like it was like 2,000. So because that's what we do, and you had to learn that. I had colleagues and friends of mine that were, I ain't gonna name no names, or someone like, Steve, how do you do it? I'm like, what do you mean? I said, you ought to be able to speak into a camera and help somebody. I mean, really, you ought to be able to take some word and help some people. I love this. I love the story, the background of it, and how you guys develop. How do you develop your leadership style in terms of, okay, who's preaching, who's organized? You know, how does that flow? How does that flow work?
Yeah, because you know what? Here's something that I found out, and we were just talking about it in my womanist theology class the other night, about how there are a lot of pastors and their wives, co-pastors on billboards and things like that, but that's just the picture. It doesn't really operate like that. And I think it's just who we are as partners. We really look at this as a team effort. I'm not intimidated by him. He's not intimidated by me. And so we just kind of play off of each other. So it'll actually be like, you want to preach this week? God got something for you to say? Like, nah, you know, I'm good.
Want to do it together?
Yeah, you want to do it together? No, you go ahead. Like, you know, and it's just, we just kind of play off of each other and try to be what God has called us to be for the people. I didn't realize that dynamic was so difficult for people until many co-pastors started reaching out to me saying, like, no, my husband, like, he's not going to let me preach, or he may let me preach on like Women's Day, or, you know, it's some drama in my house because he feels like the people respond to me more than they respond. Like, I did not realize that it was an actual thing.
Let me tell you something. I am the best Stedman in the world. You hear me? I said, you can make the money.
Yeah.
You can preach the wall. You can preach the paint off these walls. I'll be over there like Jody Brady. Be like this, like, come on. My thing is this, I push her because I know what's in her. Wow. And the fact that what's in her comes out, it makes me look good too. I'm not intimidated by it. So, you know, so hey, she could literally preach every Sunday, because the difference of what I found in pastoring is leading, not how good you can preach. Yeah. It's not how good you can preach. So I know I'm an amazing pastor. You're a shepherd. I have a shepherd's heart. I heard, I don't know if you know Conway Edwards. If you know Pastor Conway Edwards,
we got to talk to you about him.
You have to look him up. He's amazing. He said something the other day. I went to E. Dewey Smith Church a few weeks ago for a leadership thing, and Conway said, you either have a shepherd's heart, a leader's heart, or you have a sustainer's heart. He said, if you have a shepherd's heart is a person who's like, oh, let's say, for example, your key leader said, Pastor, I'm not going to come this Sunday. I'm not going to be able to be here. You're like, oh, go. I just need some time off. Go take your time off. Listen, go be blessed. A leader's heart says, I understand you have something to do, but we still have work here to do for the kingdom. Come do what you need to do. Then go take it. And then there's the sustainer's heart, who takes the vision of the leader and just whatever he says, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make the vision happen. So I found out
that's great
early in our ministry, I'm a pastor who has a shepherd's heart and leadership in me. And I don't care if I'm the most prolific sounding preacher. Can you lead these people where they need to go? I said, Tammy, so if you're the preacher, if you're the, because I call myself, I'm the Black Joel Osteen. Okay. and I said, if you Cheryl Brady, or if you Juanita Bynum, or whoever in no. And God said, don't do that. You can't do that, bro.
I know. I'm sorry.
And what I mean by it is, if you got the high and you if you do that, yes, you do. You actually good at it. So I'm like, go. And I have been preaching before. I've got matter of fact, about a month ago, I got to preach.
Hooped a little bit.
No, I ain't hoop. I actually about to preach, and it got heavy in there. And look, you over there. I said, babe, what is God telling you? And I didn't end up preaching. She ended up preaching. I went that out. And she ended up prophesying, preaching. I said, because the oil is on her.
You're right.
Most pastors would have said, no, what you ain't gonna do.
I got a message.
I came with my word, and y'all gonna get every piece of this word.
I don't think y'all just shout all of it. Get what God told me to tell you.
But that speaks to your lack of insecurity. In other words, you're secure in who
that's the area
you are.
I'm not insecure.
And you have the ability to understand that it's about getting what the word to the people. It's about giving them what God has said. And it's not about who's shining. It's not about who, and of course that whole shine idea is fluid anyway. But like you said, it's understanding that's a true leader, true shepherd, actually. But you realize that it's important for I don't have to do everything in the church, and sometimes I think pastors get caught up in well, since I'm the pastor, I'm supposed to be the best this, the best that, the best everything. And I remember when I first met Bishop Jones, when I first met him, I was actually his armor bearer.
Wow.
At a youth convention in Oakland.
Wow.
And I was sitting on, this is when he's still in Texas. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I got my one moment. I'm meeting the Noel Jones. And I'm going to go ahead and say something to him, And so I said, how do you do it? How do you do all that you're doing, preaching everywhere, And he's, well, man, no, I think there's, there's another level out there. So I'm thinking, my first lesson is if Noel Jones is trying to get to another level, I got worked it out because we all trying to get to his level,
Right.
And then he said something in the elevator on the way to the service. He said, man, I don't do anything in my church that somebody else can do better. And I'm like, I don't have to be the baddest worship leader. I don't have to lead worship. I don't have to. He said, I pay people to do that.
Yeah.
And so I was just starting pastoring at the moment. And so I'm just like, don't do anything that somebody else can do better. If the Lord's hand is on somebody else to do that, do it. Absolutely. Now, if I'm called to preach, then
let me
do my thing. I'm going to put my work in and preach. But what I'm saying is that you guys have operated with the freedom of, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to be, in front this week. I don't have to be in the mic. I don't have to,
Right.
And the ability to recognize that and flow with that. I appreciate that and I applaud that.
You know who I was about to tell you about? Pastor Jenkins, the pastor of Glen Arden Church.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Church Glen Arden is probably one of the biggest Black churches I've ever been to. First time we went some years ago, they had police escorts getting us to church, and I heard about him and I saw his ministry and I heard people talk about him. Some people had positives to say about his preaching, and some had negative.
Which is people.
Which is just people. But the first day we met him, he met us and took us up to his suite because we went to do a marriage.
We did a marriage conference.
Marriage conference maybe about 6 years ago. And he had us come up to his suite. And he was leaving. He said, y'all can stay here and eat, do whatever y'all want. We have to go see about our son, Anthony Brown is having a recording. So we're going to fly back home and do that. Wow. And we'll be right back in the morning. Right. Wow. So that was already G to me. That your marriage retreat that has like 300 couples. Right. And then the way he talked to them
regular.
When I say regular, you know what I'm talking about, regular.
Right.
I said, come on. So that Sunday we went to his church, had police. So we drive to the church. And when we get to the church, it's packed. The church sees about 10, 15,000 people.
Wow.
It's packed. I'm sitting on the front row and I said, I want to hear him preach for the first time. And his preaching was excellent to me because he didn't it was actually something I could understand. I said, he's not the preacher for the he wouldn't be what they call a preacher's preacher.
Yeah. Right.
He's the preacher for the people. But then that wasn't the part that got me. You know what the part that got me was we were there Thursday and Friday at the retreat. Didn't see him Saturday. Well, we didn't see him Saturday. But that Sunday when he saw us, he said, Haddon's, come on back. Come on. He treated us, and I watched how he dealt with everybody that he came in encounter with on his way to the office.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, he's a pastor.
Yeah.
He remember names. He remember the people. It's not about me. It's about us. I said, that's why his church is going to be the biggest. I said to the preachers who are saying, he can't preach, who probably got 200 or 300 members, maybe even 1,000. I was like, you're not a city pastor or a nation pastor. You're a neighborhood pastor.
Right. Right.
You just can't have. And what I saw from him that day said, oh, okay. So it's not about my hoop. It's about, can my community, can we communicate connect. And just in that weekend, him remember my name. Says he remember my name.
But what I have found too is a lot of preachers, particularly that talk like that, are still searching for validation. Yes. And they discredit others, hoping it will validate them. But you know, people that know who they are and understand their call and know what they're called to walk out are not even fazed by that, because I'm doing me. I'm doing what I've been called to do, and you don't have to like it because I'm doing me.
You know? And you find peace with that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like I'm not struggling, and I'm not trying to find where I fit, and not trying to find where's my, you know, and I think over the years, one thought I had over, especially since the pandemic, how we measure success is different. You know, it should be different now, and what we think is success, you know, because we think numbers and how many you running in this dock and how many, you know, and it's like, well, but how many people are you really reaching and connecting with, and how many people are you leading, you know, to Christ? And so it's really important to that relationship thing, that connection thing is really a great piece. Let's see. Let me see. Well, I got another question. I think y'all done answered everything that I really want to talk about, because now I got some other questions. Now I got five questions, I think.
Come on.
Okay.
Ask each of you individually. Although we can keep going. How am I going to do this? Let me see. Because I'm trying to figure out, I don't want you to answer them, you know, I want you to make sure, but one thing about you guys, you're going to answer individually anyway. I feel in my spirit that you're going to answer it anyway. Well, let me ask this too, before I go into those questions. What do you guys need as pastors from my generation, even though I'm only like a few years older than you, Gerald? You know,
you're not a few years older than me.
You want me to answer first?
You can.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty would be an amazing thing, because many times we feel like when we encounter struggles, whether it be in the church or whether it be navigating your marriages or your children as leaders, right? We encounter things and we feel like we're the only ones.
Yeah.
Because, you know, pastoring can be lonely because you can't talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And if leaders that have gone before us that built ministries and survived storms were willing to say, look, where I'm at now, I wasn't always here. And how me and Mr. So-and-so are, we weren't always like this.
Right.
Y'all, and you're going to get through this. Let me tell you how we got through this. Let me see what resources I have accumulated that I can give to you so that you can get through this. But I think instead, many of the older generation are still fighting to hold on to the platform. And if that means I even have to keep the next generation down in order to maintain my spot, I'll do that. So I don't think they're helping us, and I don't think they're honest with us. So I would have a little more honesty.
I think my answer is going to be the same, just in a little different direction, but same material in the middle. Mine would be to share the blueprint.
I got you.
Share the blueprint, and a lot didn't share the blueprint, and you just basically said that. They didn't give you the tools. But the crazy part is, I hate to say this, some of our other brothers and sisters share the entire blueprint.
Absolutely.
So Pastor Ron shared the entire blueprint. I was like, Pastor Ron, man, I don't know how to take offerings yet. I said, I'm just not an offering guy. I come up under Bishop Jones. Bishop Jones didn't ask for nothing more than $20. But you have
7,000 people in the house.
So that $20. Pastor Ron says, here, take exactly how I do it. He said, repeat what I say my way and just change it. I said, how do you start your systems? I said, nobody in our generation showed us systems and da-da-da. He said, so-and-so, give them our systems.
They gave us everything to the degree that they said, you can just put your logo
on. Take my name off and put your logo on. He said, then once you learn how to do it, you get it more and you get going, then make it yours. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, that's exactly what I did. He said, until I learned how to do certain things, I copied my predecessor. I learned how to do it. And I said, that's deep. I said, nobody ever gave us these tools. But then another thing, we wasn't going after pastoring. I did that musically.
Right.
I did in other areas as minister of music or as a producer, songwriter. Right. But as far as church, when I did reach out to certain pastors and say, hey, tell me how you, they're like, man, it just ain't, man, ain't like you said earlier. Like, Doc, you sure, Doc, God called you to do this, man. I'm just telling you, man, people gonna come and they gonna go. I said, well, I know that. That's so those are the things I need, the blueprint. Give me your blueprint.
Right, right.
Let me look at it. Let me say what works for me and doesn't work for me. And but at least share, because that's
share.
Share. And that's how we are as people. We're not sharers.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to literally outdo you. And then you're like, how did they do that in 5 years? How did they get 5,000 people in 5 years or 6,000 people in 5 years? And I'm still at 1,000. What did they do? Hey man, just hey. God did it, man.
But see, yeah. And see, I think that, and speaking from the previous generation, because I know how it is with my contemporaries, we're too busy competing. We're acting like we're in competition with one another, and we're not. But we don't. Our mindset is, oh, I feel some kind of way about them and what they do, and I'm watching. And now, of course, with everything being seen, and you're seeing everybody's highlight reels, right? And so when you see the highlight reels, the praise breaks, and everybody's going in, the videographers and all that stuff's going on, then the mindset is, oh wow, I don't have that. Then now I gotta try to figure out how to get that, but without admitting that I stole it from them or tried to get it from them, and now we're competing with one another. And we're not. It's not a competition.
Let me tell you what I did. I went to Mark Moore Jr. He wasn't pastoring at the time.
Right.
And I told him, we told him, I'm a prophet too now. I told Mark, I said, you're going to be a pastor. He said, oh, no, he was just doing it YLC.
No, he told me, he said, that's my father. I said, Mark, you're a pastor.
Absolutely.
Right. But I had the same conversation with him out here years ago. I said, man, anyway, go ahead.
But no, I told Mark he needed for his YLC, for his building, which has an amazing building, he needed some chairs. I had just acquired some chairs. Somebody gave us like 200 or 300 chairs.
More than we could hold.
So I was putting half of them in storage. So I was talking to one of my other pastor friends. I was like, yo, I said, man, I just got 300 chairs for free. They said, if you can get them out, I got a U-Haul. When I got them all, I just put them in storage.
Chairs.
And he said, oh man. He said, Mark Moore just called me, need some chairs.
Wow.
His YLC building. He said, call Mark and see if you can help. I said, actually, I got 100 because I got 300 of one set of chairs, and I got 150 of another set of chairs. The black chairs you put in put in, at a dinner or something. So I was like, Mark, all those. I get So I called Mark. I said, Mark. I said, man, I just got some chairs. I heard you need some chairs. He said, I do. So I sent him pictures of both sets of chairs. He said, what about those? I said, well, I'm gonna keep those. And she was in the background. I said, nope, give him 100 of them. I said, no, give him 100.
Well, I just said, honey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like, stay out of this. Shh. And then I said, Mark, you know what? I'm gonna give you half of those chairs that we got. You can come get them.
And we would have had to put them in store. We couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't hold them anyway because I already had chairs in the church and I was using. So I said, you know what? You can come get those. You can come get this. If something else I got, because it was from another church that was closed. It closed down. Yeah. And they were just being a blessing to us. They gave us a whole bunch of stuff free.
Wow.
When I gave them to Mark, we went by Mark's church, and Mark had just bought some new cameras. And I said, Mark, what you doing with those? He said, oh, those are yours. You got them. He gave us cameras.
Wow.
He gave things. So my point is, between Mark, I got some other pastor friends who sold into us.
Pastor Ron,
like few lights. Oh, okay. So when Pastor Ron gave us the $20,000, he had just they gave us 8 moving big movers to let me use and try out, and a board that I was gonna buy if it worked. And when they gave us that 20,000, the sound guy came over to me and said, "Oh, by the way, them lights and that board and all that stuff, that's y'all's too. Don't worry about it. Just keep it." He said, "No cost." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, no cost. Yeah. That's the extra on top of the icing on the cake." What? So my thing is, what I've seen is once God's hand is in something, you don't have to fight people. Right. All you have to do is I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna give you what I have. What I have, I freely give because I know God's gonna give back to me. And if I can be a part of your ministry growing, I want to be that part. I don't want to be the person who hold back and then watch you end up blowing up and now have no communication with you.
Now everything. Now I'm
now we're friends now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now we're friends. Like, where was you at when I was struggling?
Mm-hmm.
But I just have a great community of friends who share.
Yeah. That's powerful. And I think it's but that's what I think we need to make sure we're doing as the older generation and those of us that have been around a long time. How long have you guys been married? Or been together? Y'all been together since
how long have we been together?
Yeah, since
4 years.
Yep, 1990.
Yep, 34 years. And in May, we will have been married 25 years.
Wow, awesome.
We never had a wedding. We're having our first wedding in May.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She asked me to take her to a court. She said, "Will you marry me today?"
Shut up. He's a liar. He's a liar.
And because I love her so much, I took her to a courthouse
we did
in Toledo, Ohio,
and got married.
And married her. Matter of fact, the crazy part is Juanito Biden was preaching in my dad's church that night.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
Preaching at church that night. And then when we came back and said we got married, they was like, y'all need to get married because God was going to show me.
Oh.
Sin. Because we actually lived together 6 months before we got married.
Shacking. Oh,
we shacked.
But we acted like straight up friends.
Yeah.
Really wasn't nothing going on. That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But look at God. Almost 25 years.
25 years. Awesome.
And our oldest son, we had him before we got married too.
Yeah,
so
he's 31.
She said we wasn't doing.
I said that's 6 months when you was in the house. Hush.
Okay.
Easy. But you have 3 sons. I'm really, really excited. I'm happy for you guys. And what's the anniversary date in May?
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
See, all right. See, if you would have been like 7 days, May 10th is my birthday, so May is an excellent month.
We're still gonna have to come to Detroit for the wedding, so we'll make sure we get you all the information.
Yeah, get the information. I'll roll. I'll pull up on it.
Yeah. we were going to do it in LA.
Yeah.
She wanted to do it in LA, so we started doing LA. And then I said it's not fair because her mother has never flown in her life.
She's not gonna fly.
Her mother's 80 years old now.
82.
82. Her mother and her father would fly, but her mother has never flown. We lived in LA 15 years. Her mother came one time. We brought her. She had to go and bring her on the train. So I said, babe, I think the smartest thing for us to do is go home. I said it would be unfair to do that wedding in LA, and you know your mother's not gonna come. Yeah, she's not gonna get that.
Awesome.
So we took it to Detroit, back where we started. So we're gonna do it May 3rd in Detroit.
Excellent. All right. I got anything y'all want to ask me? How about that?
What you want to ask the man of God?
You know that? No, I don't have nothing right this second offhand.
What made you start doing this podcast thing?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. Now, it was the whole podcast kind of grew out of we were doing. I used to do a thing on Thursday night, TNT, a little Thursday night teaching thing, and from Steve Hamilton Ministries instead of the church thing, and so I got all these different, lanes I'm in, and on Thursday nights I do like maybe 20-25 minutes, just a quick little thought. And that was really kind of moving pretty well and going kind of successfully. People were kind of tuning in. And then it was like, okay, I got to find what's next, and what's the next level of it. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe a podcast where we can kind of just have some guests, but also do some teaching too. Yeah. And focus more on leaders and pastors and so that was kind of grew out of that. And so that's how we got to the Leaders Lounge.
I got a question. I got a good question.
Okay.
Here we go. What has been your biggest success in ministry? And what has been your biggest failure in ministry thus far?
Wow. That's a really good question. I think one of the biggest success, because I've been doing this now for it'll be 33 years in September.
Wow.
And so I think the biggest success, because I took over a church. I took over the church. This is the only church I've ever been a member of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we were extremely small church, you know, and very traditional. And I think the biggest success would be the transformation of the ministry to be where it's relevant, where it is connecting with people around the world. I couldn't imagine. I mean, we've gone through different phases where we were, you know, had 2 locations before the pandemic. And so you're going, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, but I think that in terms of just being able to go through the various changes, because you have the different waves of people that come and go and all that kind of stuff. But I think that the biggest success would just be putting the church on the map, you know, in terms of having it just be like where people could be talking to me from Georgia and be like, okay, you know, I know who you are, I know your ministry, because of the background that we have was just so, you know, far in the back. But the biggest success would just be the longevity of it and the ability to be relevant. I think that's the big thing. The biggest failure would probably be I still haven't learned how to do offerings yet, but but I think that that's been, you know, just in terms of just losing. Sometimes you lose people, you lose you know, the financial resources. I remember there was a time about over 10 years ago where there were so many, you know, pillar members, you know, all of them leaving at the same time. And so, you know, it's almost kind of like, okay, you know, different stuff. You know, I got this, but it was like, and so I remember that it was just like kind of devastating for me. And as a shepherd, you're kind of like, you always blame yourself. You know, you always, it was something I did or didn't do or something like that. But those type of things are the ones that hit the hardest, I think. Because money situations sometimes are interesting, especially here in LA.
Because people kill me saying preachers or pastors get rich off pastor. I'm like, so y'all don't think it's no bills? Like,
you know, no, and those types of things. That's probably the biggest, you know, area that I was like, we didn't hit that properly, but other than that, you know, we're moving right along. Thank God. Those are great.
I got another question.
All right.
How come Gerald and Tammi haven't been at your church to sing or to preach yet?
You know what? I was going to ask the same thing. I don't even recall an invitation about Bishop Hamilton coming to breathe. But anyway, that's another story. And you know what? No. Seriously, I want to have. I was, you know, that was one of the things I was going to talk to you guys about. When are y'all coming to LA to preach, sing, to do ministry?
We're in LA March 15th through the 18th. Yeah, I think 14th.
Because we're doing something that Saturday.
We're doing something on the 16th, and we're just gonna stay over that Sunday the 17th, and then come home the 18th.
You know what? We might have to work something out.
Look,
seriously though, I'd love to have you. I was one of my things was like, I got to get Gerald and Tammi out here.
That'd be cool
to hang with us and have
a good time. I know Ruby had asked us.
I'm going to say Ruby then would be like, you know, we'd be over the moon. So that'll be a whole unique.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
that's a whole other topic of discussion. We'll talk about Damo and Ruby. We have to discuss because somebody need to be sat down.
Somebody need to be sat down.
How does they say?
Oh, so you know what? So you probably did have a very unique perspective when you know, all the prophets were talking about Beyonce, because you pastoring some of their musicians.
Yeah, musicians, Diamond, drummer, and all. I was like, you better leave Beyonce alone.
Leave my people alone.
Right.
I got tithes right now.
Listen, I got folks that are blessing us. Come on. Listen. And so, I did have an interesting take on that. You know, I'm like, but I will say this real quickly. I think that it's always easy to to jump on the entertainment thing as far as profits are. Oh, we can always come against whatever's going on and whoever the artist is, and we can we all of a sudden got a Illuminati and all that other junk. And these people are, and we got some of the biggest idols are in the church anyway,
Oh my God.
But, some of our so I'm just saying. So
I'm like, God goes silent after Beyonce's tours, clearly, because he was talking. He was only talking about Beyonce. He has not said anything since. So since she dropped new music, maybe God will start speaking again.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, all of a sudden now. Yeah, and so it's like, come on. I think that. But again, and in the serious note, I think that one of the things I've learned this year was that we see that there's going to be a lot of exposure in entertainment, in politics, and in the church. The church folks don't want to hear that one, but it's true. So, but I know that, but what we got to understand is that I can't sit back and one of the easy targets for those that are trying to come against, the church always want to point out entertainment. What are they doing in entertainment? They watch award shows. Well, don't watch the award show. Why are you watching the Grammys?
Right.
Anyway? I mean, it's like, what were you expecting?
Turn it off.
Right. Why are you doing it? So I think that but that's been happening my entire life. They're going to pick on the music department and the music situation and all that other stuff. And so I think that, we've had some wonderful musicians come through here. Yeah. And I'm grateful for them. I'm like, keep on coming. Now I'm here for you. I love you. And a lot of them love the Lord. And, anyway. So
well, if Ethan haven't got the Holy Ghost yet, something was wrong with your music.
well, but now you knowing Ethan.
Ethan can't get the Holy. I'm sorry. Ethan won't. He just won't get the. He just can't get the Holy Ghost.
Ethan is hilarious, and but like I say, between Damo, Ethan, Diamond, I mean, all these guys are just phenomenal.
Great guys.
But we would love to have you guys come through here and just shake it up. Come on. I don't. We got to figure something out because I want to have. We just need to be able to. Let's go on Tammi Sunday and let y'all go and do. And I can sit there and receive all day long. I would be excited. Anyway, I got questions for. Let's see, 1, 2, 5 questions for you.
Okay.
All right. My first question is: if you could go back in time to any moment or event, what would it be? And this doesn't have to be church. It doesn't have to be whatever. Does any moment, any event, what would you go back to? Either one of you can take it first, and then the other one has to answer.
I could go back in time. This might be so bad, and this is so true. Oh my God.
See what you're gonna say.
No, I'm not gonna say nothing you think because it was just so I enjoyed it so much. I would go back to the Formation tour when I went with my girls to see Beyonce.
All right.
That was a good show.
All right. Now this could be an historical event too, something that you weren't are a part of. Yeah.
I would go back to I don't know. I don't know where I would go back to, because everything is. I have so many great moments, but I'm like, it's the past. It just is what it is.
But this is also now. This could be a moment that you weren't actually there.
It's something you could.
It could be something
I already know where. I know it. Go ahead.
What are you gonna say?
No, I know where you would.
I would go back. Oh, I would be somewhere at a Michael Jackson concert.
I thought you would say you'd be in the room when they
Roger,
We Are the World.
I definitely would be one.
Man, did y'all
when
see
they did that We Are the World?
Did you see that? Oh, that was awesome.
That thing. If I could have been around the wall, man.
That's
I was there. Or I would have wished I could have been around, because my father tells me stories about him and Marvin Gaye. I wish I could have been around in them areas, riding around like or doing the recordings of a lot of them records. Seeing how they did.
I've always said I would like to be in the studios in Motown, and
man, I would have. That's why I would. Yes.
Yeah.
Take
I would,
back
that was one of my spots that I would also.
Yeah.
See, great. See, that's a see.
Yeah, I would have wanted to be around a Michael Jackson. Anything Michael Jackson was doing.
Both of our moments are musical,
right?
But I would have been afraid to be around Michael Jackson because even what Lionel Richie said, he said he was sitting there and all he heard was. I said, "Oh, I'd have died."
No, yeah, I would have just.
I would have died.
We gonna work. We gonna do this over the phone or something.
Right.
We definitely coming out of here because we ain't doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I went back to. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, speaking of music, what are you guys doing? Are you guys still doing music, producing, writing? Yeah, okay.
Actually, we had a song out last year for it's a song called Jesus that we wrote and produced for Tim Bowman Jr. Faith City Music. They did very well.
Awesome.
Last year for them. So this year we're actually about to work on some Gerald and Tammi music. But we've been still creating. I've still been producing. She's have you been doing anything?
Yeah, well, between church and going to school,
yeah.
They kind of get put on the back burner. Yeah. So we are being more intentional this year about like getting back into that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Ain't let that fail.
Yeah.
All right. Amen. All right. Yeah. And here's another good question for you. What are your 3 desert island albums or / movies? What 3 albums or movies would you need to take if you were on a desert island? You'd have to have these 3 albums.
Albums and movies.
Or movies. Yeah, okay. Either one. You don't have to. You don't have to have both.
Beaches for a movie.
Okay.
So we can take 6 or we.
You can do 6. You can do 6.
Okay, so Beaches for me for a movie.
Beverly Hills Cop for me.
Okay.
Full Moon for a record.
Okay.
Record. I would take. You taking Full Moon? I would take full album of. Off the Wall.
Okay. I was gonna wear my Off the Wall shirt today. Anyway, go ahead.
Off the Wall.
And it's got to be one movie.
No,
no. I'll take The Vow.
I would take the Harry Potter films.
Okay.
Oh, that's for me. Nobody asked you like my movie.
I would take The Vow. So I'll take Beverly Hills Cop, The Vow, and
Off the Wall. You said.
No, that's music.
Oh, okay, got you.
So as far as movies, Beverly Hills Cop, the Vow. There's another one I fell in love with, the 2 magicians.
I know what you're talking about.
Because I'm into those kind of movies. Okay. Where they were. You remember the movie where they were
Nick, something like that. But I would do Full Moon and for me, the Lemonade record.
The Lemonade record.
Mm-hmm.
I have
the 2 ones
I would take Joe's. What's Joe's record?
No idea. I don't know the name.
What's sad is we talking about all secular and said nothing gospel.
That's all right.
Give me an Edwin Hawkins record.
If I'm on an island, I want to take something I can listen to all the way through.
All the way through, yeah, exactly.
On the record. So for me, that's the Lemonade record, and that's Full Moon. That I can I don't have to stop it. Yeah. I can just play it.
And that's why I said Off the Wall.
And you got one more, Tammi, if you want one more
album.
Yeah.
It would probably be something by Barbra Streisand.
All right.
Yeah.
That island would be so dry. I take a Gap Band record.
What?
I take the Gap Band to party. Roger Troutman and a Roger Troutman record.
Okay.
I take that Computer Love record. We would have a good time.
You run around that island like somebody's uncle at a barbecue.
Be Computer Love with more bounce to the album. We'd have a good time out there. You hear me?
Zap's greatest hits. There you go.
Zap's greatest hits. Exactly. And the Gap Band.
I'm surprised we actually do music together because our musical tastes are very different.
But I think that's what makes us who we are.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, this is great. Okay, what person, living or dead, would you like to hang out with?
Mine would have been Roger Troutman.
Roger Troutman, the late.
I met him one time. But because of he changed the game for me.
Yeah.
As far as creating a sound
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody who could change the sound, I would love to have hang with. And I wish I had 3 encounters with Michael Jackson. I never met him actually,
Okay.
but I had 3 encounters, like being in his presence.
Wow.
I wish I could have been around him. And then living, Quincy Jones, I would love to just sit and hear his stories.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, I'm close. Living for me would be Lionel Richie.
Okay.
And then Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, wow.
I'm fascinated. She gave up a lot of her life and personal identity for the sake of the throne. So we don't really know who the woman was. We know we know who the monarch was.
Right.
And so I would just be curious about what that felt like for her to sacrifice her identity for the crown.
Wow. Awesome. All right. I got some interesting answers. Yeah. All right. Who inspires you?
In what area?
Just period.
Tammi inspires me.
So you inspire me.
Real talk. See, there you go.
For real, that's not a fluff. That's
I know.
Like he inspires me because he's probably the most honest person when it comes to me. He's going to tell me what's not up to par, what he thinks I could do better, but he's also going to be like the wind in my back.
Are you recording this? Yeah. When I feel these kind of things, like
I always say you inspire me.
You just trying to,
but you are a little hard. Like when you come at me, it's a little hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Nothing has moved me further on the dial than your presence in my life.
Oh wow! See?
There you go. I'll never repeat it. So I hope you are.
You better take it in, man, because you're going.
No, she's probably inspired me the most, but I'm inspired by so many different people. If I have to say preacher, mine would be, it's crazy by the sound. Jesse Duplantis is who inspires me, and the reason why, and you know why, he's funny, and I don't like the average, right. I don't like stuff. He inspires me. Crazy part is I'm inspired by so many different in every area. Like we go from preaching to musically to building things. I have different people in every genre, and it's eclectic.
Now you know who inspires me the most concerning preaching? Dave Chappelle. Real talk. Dave Chappelle's delivery, the type of orator that he is, the way he walks you through a story to get to his point is really
it is. The pacing
the pacing.
Oh my
he don't feel rushed, he don't feel
he's not anxious. He's just
not at all. Like that's a good thing. He's not anxious. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
He is like, no, I'm going to take you on this journey, and you're going to stay however long I walk you through. Drop you off where I'm dropping you off.
Right. Yeah. That is really interesting because you do have to learn. You can be inspired by stand-up comedians and people that do, and actors. I'm inspired by actors and comedians.
Yeah.
And Gerald, you said who now? You said Jesse Duplantis. What about musically? Who inspires you?
Definitely Quincy Jones. Definitely David Foster. I'm inspired by some of the greats who pushed me to be like, yo, I want to figure out that sound. Timbaland posted something the other day saying, who is the greatest producer and where they from that don't have to use a tag? And the tag is saying Dark Child 99 or Timbaland. And when I thought about it, I said, technically, everybody has a sound, but what I loved about Quincy Jones was he didn't just have a sound. He created so many different sounds. You didn't know it was him. You had to find out, Quincy Jones did that. Quincy Jones did that. You're like, wait a minute. He's in
so many different lanes, so many different.
He went from jazz to R&B to pop, and that's how David Foster is. So when I think of the Timbalands, who are still some of the great Timbalands and the Rodney Jerkins and the different who definitely inspired me. Teddy Riley was one of the highlights. But they all created pockets of style that lasted just for a season. But then David Foster and Quincy Jones, they were like still today. Quincy Jones got to be almost 100 years old.
Right.
Still telling people how to do music right now.
That Taylor Swift girl case. Jesus. But you know, the older people they don't care about what they say.
Hey, listen, filters are gone. You know,
Aretha Franklin. They said Aretha Franklin. What?
Pretty gown.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, pretty good. Oh, Aretha Franklin with them pretty gowns got me.
So and so, nice voice.
So shady.
Pretty
no,
makeup.
I like. So who's my musical? Babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Babyface.
Lionel Richie, and probably I would say Paul McCartney.
Yeah. See.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tammy and I got some. We in the same lanes a lot. Gerald's over there talking about, you know.
He living on the edge out in these streets.
He over there on the edge with Zap.
It's Black History Month, man. I gotta stay with these. Y'all,
I feel you though. No, you're right. You're right. And see, that lets me know what age range you're in, because you know that was in the 80s, man. You know, see, I'm a 70s. You know.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I think, but all up through there was the greatest. The 70s, 80s, for me, was the greatest times.
I agree.
80s, and then even in the 90s, it changed about 2000. It started to me going downhill. Like, man, because even changed as far as the money we made doing what we do.
Oh, really?
Think about the money we make as a producer. You make good money as a producer. I can make.
I think they still. I think it might have gone up now.
No, it hasn't gone up, because I just saw what Timbaland posted. I've never made 50,000 a song. Timbaland said I can make anywhere from 30 to 50,000 for one song. I was in the 10 to 20,000 for one song back then, and it's changed to now, because you got to think record sales has changed.
Yeah,
and everything has changed.
How you consume music.
Yeah, so now the consumer is now, or the people who's making the music now, are just making beats versus saying I need a music producer. Which there's a difference between a music producer and a beat maker.
Yeah.
Right.
So these kids are making beats, making a lot of money, just making beats and not producing a full record, and don't even know how to produce a full record.
And that's another thing.
So
I got a question for you, Bishop. I don't want to get you in trouble. Beyonce or Brandy? No, let me tell you why. Nissan must have been on FaceTime for 30 minutes last night. Him and his wife at the top of their lungs, like, no, I'm telling you, so-and-so's better. Oh, she's terrible. Like a whole thing.
Beyonce.
So tell them what you think.
You like Brandy?
I do like. I think I'd probably say. I'll say Beyonce, because my daughter would kill me if I didn't. So, but she likes both. But Beyonce. Let's see. As far as what music, because I have some Beyonce. You know, I got some in my library.
What?
Man, my library is something else. But
I think I love. Like, let me tell you something. That Brandy is a singer.
Yeah,
you can't take that from her. Beyonce is. She's just versatile. She touches a whole lot of stuff, and then she's this complete performer. Like you ain't got to like her.
That was what took it over the edge for me.
Yeah.
As far as a performer goes, you know, you got to go with Beyonce.
Even what she hears and what she thinks. I don't recall. I have never heard of anybody saying they are Beyonce's vocal producer.
Right.
Like, as far as I can tell, Beyonce pretty much vocal produces herself.
No, LaShawn actually did.
But that's what she did with Gaga.
But I'm saying he wrote her verse and then he vocal produced her. But one of the other things that was dope to me, one of my friends who's working on Beyonce record, he said Beyonce called him and said, "Hey, I need you to come write so and so for me." He said, I'm in the middle of, so I can't get there until Monday or whatever. She said, he said she got quiet just like this. "All right, I'm working on so and so. I need to in the morning." And he's like, okay. Drop what he was doing. It was there the next day. He had to drop it to be there the next day. This is Beyonce calling. You don't get it. I do it. Say by Monday.
I just said what I said. Now
I what I said. You either coming or you getting left behind. You pick. So
but I do love Brandy's voice. I love.
Amazing.
She's one of the vocal gurus in my book.
Absolutely.
Always will be.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What's your favorite food?
Well, I got two favorites.
What's yours?
I love any seafood boil.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Oh God, I love any seafood boil. I'm gonna have to get some today.
And just give me some soul food. I can eat soul food, even though it ain't nothing about it good for me. Give me soul food every day. Some cooked chicken, overcooked chicken.
Overcooked.
Yes. Because you can't, I don't like chicken. I can't explain it. I don't like nothing, and you can explain it.
You're an extremist.
I don't. When I say cooking chicken, but I said, can you make it extra crispy?
Like he burns food. Like he was like, I want it burned.
I want it that close to like like today my sausages I got made today. She made it the perfect right the second time around. I had to sit it back and say,
cook it longer.
And they got it right there. I said, right there. So any food is cooked right to the edge of. It got to be burnt.
Right to the edge of burnt.
Unedible. That's what I want.
They like I can't eat a steak that got nothing red in it.
Oh no! See,
I can't eat it.
That's that. See, yeah.
I don't want to have nothing to do with it.
You don't like it either, Bishop?
Huh?
You don't like medium or medium?
No, I like it medium rare. Medium rare, yeah.
I haven't tried medium rare. I got because that to me that's where the flavor is.
Yeah. No, medium rare to medium.
What are you looking for God to say when you get to heaven? What are you looking for God to say to you? Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Everything's supposed to be well done. That's what I'm looking to hear him say. So I don't care what nobody says.
But the Lord's gonna say, but I didn't. Yeah, I don't want you burning up no good meat now. Don't you mess the good meat.
Oh my God.
I would cook something to the crisp. You hear me?
So seafood boils and pasta for me are my absolute favorite.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you just want soul food.
Give me some soul food, and I take pasta and burn it. Cook it well.
Soul food.
Cook it well.
That sounds like a blues record or something. Burnt soul food.
Burnt soul food, yes.
No, I'm an extremist because of probably how my mind think when you talk about chicken, for example. They say you can get sick. So I'm like, cook it till I know it's cooked. I don't want to eat nothing that can mess me up. Just cook it till I know it's cooked, and I'll figure everything out on the way. Along the way.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed, and like I said, now we've gone way past the time, but but it was so good, and I enjoyed you guys, and I know you got a giving campaign you guys are starting.
Yeah, we do.
Underway. We gonna hit you. We're gonna have something that's gonna bless you.
Come on.
From Steve Hamilton Ministries. We appreciate y'all. And we gotta make sure that Gerald, you got my numbers, right?
Absolutely. Look at me.
All right. Well, let's work on something.
I know how to get you.
That's not a bad.
So if I know.
Make no mistake. Yeah, I can find you. But I have thoroughly enjoyed you guys. Happy any word for Valentine's Day? What do you guys got planned for that? You guys
we're actually going to be at church, but we're doing a relationship panel. Mm-hmm. We done found it. Look, so these young people said we dysfunctional. Can y'all come talk to us?
Help us, Lord.
That's what we did Sunday. So Valentine's Day is going to be the continuation.
They were like, "Can you continue it?"
So we're going to do that. But we like this with Valentine's Day. It's like every day is Valentine's Day.
We've never really celebrated Valentine's.
Yeah, because it's like we hang together 90.
You know what I found is most couples that have been together a long time, it's not a big deal for them. Yeah. Me and my wife and I are like, right. I'll slide you a card or something, maybe, but
right.
We've been together for 150 years, so it's all
right.
So, but anyway,
happy Valentine's Day, girl. That's
right. Yeah. That's right. It is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. But again, thank you guys so much for spending time in the lead.
Thanks for having us.
And I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. It was fun.
We did.
We had a great time.
It was good.
All right, we got to do this again, and we got to do something in March. That's gonna be fun. If y'all can come, man,
we'll see you March 17th. What time service start?
Listen, Gerald has got it already locked in.
What time does service start on Sundays?
10 o'clock, 10:15.
10:15. So we need to be there at 9. Are we singing or preaching time? Which one
you gotta talk to the bishop. We definitely in California. Whatever y'all tell me to do.
Okay. Look, because I put myself on program.
He good for that.
I did the Bishop Jones the other day. I texted him, say, we're gonna be in LA We coming home.
So you know what's happening. But listen, Gerald gonna have a flyer out tomorrow, and we'll be ready.
Absolutely.
But no, we're gonna make it happen. And I enjoy you. I love you guys' ministry. Love you too. Love you. Too. And be blessed. And we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Leaders Lounge Live and Unmuted with Steve Hamilton. If you found this episode to be helpful or have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget your copy of the book for mature audiences only with the self-assessment guide, Manifesting God's Divine Will for Your Life. It's available now at stevehamiltonministries.com. Until next time.